Hello and welcome to Join Abochi. In our headlines for today, former President John Dramani Mahama accuses government of excessive borrowing with nothing to show for it. Plastic waste on the shores of Jamestown poses a threat to residents. Some young innovators develop eco-friendly system to purify water in rural communities. These and more in this package. Please stay for details. Another news in detail. Let's begin with flag bearer of the opposition National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, who's accusing the governing New Patriotic Party of borrowing $13.5 billion in 6 years with nothing to show for it. Mr. Mahama says that money could have done major road projects, provided modern health facilities, and expanded other structures. John Mahama was discussing what he says was a state of the country's economy with the chiefs and people of Bolgatanga in the Upper East region.
Fortunately, we're meeting at a time our country is going through very serious economic crisis. And I've always said that this crisis is self-inflicted. It is the result of mismanagement, and let nobody tell you otherwise. President Akufo had started the first entry into the international credit market, which was the Eurobond. He borrowed only $750 million. In the 4 years I was president, with everything that we did and all the developments that you see, we went onto the Eurobond market and borrowed only $3.5 billion. In 6 years of the MPP administration, in the Eurobond market, they went and borrowed $13.5 billion. And my fathers, the tragedy of it is that $13.5 billion would have put an asphalt overlay from Tamale to Paga to halt the deterioration of the highway that goes to Burkina Faso. With $13.5 billion, we would have finished all the work in the Bolgatanga Central Hospital. With $13.5 billion, we would have finished the road from here through Navrongo to Wa. There are so many things that we're yearning for that money could have been applied to. Unfortunately, most of that money went into consumption. Use it and eat chicken and feed fat. And eventually, when your creditors come after you, you have no money to repay the loan. And that's the situation in which we find ourselves. We have declared ourselves bankrupt. Most of the time, they try to attribute it to COVID and to Ukraine-Russia war. But we're not alone in COVID and Ukraine.
There is only one paramount chief for Bawku, hence the area cannot be in chieftaincy conflict. According to him, the recognition by every government that the current Bawku Naba Asigri Abugrago Azoka II is overlord of the area is evident to the fact Nanaya Ojima was with the former president who paid a courtesy call on the Bawku overlord as part of the Building Ghana tour of the NDC.
For decades, Bawku has experienced recurring conflicts. Its resurgence 2 years ago has resulted in many deaths and slowed down economic activities in the area. Bawku Naba Asigri Abugragu Azoka II, who is distraught by the present situation, is calling on the government and other stakeholders to help restore peace. A speech was read on his behalf.
I have been chief for 40 years now, and I think the conflict is needless. We continue to look up to God, our ancestors, the government and other important stakeholders like you to play your roles to restore peace in Bawku.
For the present insecurity situation, the government has instituted a curfew from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Motorbikes which are the main means of transportation, are banned. Many are now resorting to bicycles and commercial tricycles for their transportation needs. Businesses are adversely affected, with the youth being the most hit.
With this curfew, by 6 o'clock you are in, unless the next morning 6 o'clock that you come out, it is affecting we the youth mostly, because most of the times getting to 7, 8, that will be the time some of us the youth will close from work, come home. Before you get home, so you have to arrange certain things before you get home.
I was doing motor business. I ride motor from Bawku, from Sankasi to Upper Westwa, but now the situation how it's going on, I cannot even go from Sankasi to Bolgaji again because it's almost dangerous.
The NDC flag bearer, John Mahama, wants the people to collaborate with the security present on the ground to restore peace.
When I read the media, they say the Bawku chieftaincy conflict. There's no chieftaincy conflict in Bawku. There cannot be two kings in one kingdom. Every government recognizes that the overlord of Bawku is Naba Abugago Atsigri II. And that's why I say there's no conflict, no chieftaincy conflict. And so peace in Bawku is going to be my priority when I become president. And so I wish to urge you to collaborate with our security service personnel who are here. They have a very difficult job. Let's collaborate with them so that they can help to maintain the peace. And I can assure you that when NDC comes, we will make sure that peace comes to Bawku. Bawku has a lot of potential.
Meanwhile, the NDC flag bearer has assured of the completion of stalled development projects in the area. Despite police and military presence in Bawku, many continue to fear for their lives. The call is that lasting solution is found to the situation within Bawku. For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima reporting.
Now, leader of the movements for change, Alan Kojo Chemanting, says he's confident the great transformational plan will turn Ghana's economy around. Speaking earlier on Newsfile, Mr. Chemanting said he has a track record to deliver economic prosperity to Ghanaians.
Now, there's clarity about what the plan is speaking to, because it's documented. And I'm not one of the politicians that will say, oh, but if you bring it out and people know about what you want to do, then either people will steal your ideas
or their manifestos.
I'm not interested in that.
Okay.
I know with the help of God, I'll become president. And so I want to prepare what will make it possible for me to make a difference before I get to power. Not to wait until they give you the mandate and you are now coming to put together a team to decide what you want to do. That alone takes 1.5 years.
If you wanted to share with us one of the diagnoses and the, as it were, the prescription for our economic, situation, what will it be in that plan?
I would say, let's say, currency. The stability of our currency. I mean, look, I have 150 policy prescriptions in the whole GTP, which are categorized under 6 thematic areas. But the focus on this one was just the economic cluster. Now, but when you are looking at economic revitalization, the stability of your currency is very important because it has implications for inflation in particular. It has implications for even the level of growth that you can achieve as a country and the multiplier effect. So I believe that if we just took the issue of currency, the strength of your currency is a factor, or it's a question of the demand and supply of foreign exchange. And The more foreign exchange you have, the more stable your currency will be as against other currencies, particularly, let's say, the dollar. Now, in this particular case, if we are able to increase exports, it means the supply of foreign exchange would increase. At the same time, if you are able to reduce the level of imports, then we would also conserve foreign exchange. So if you have more foreign exchange, then that strengthens your local currency, because you need less local currency now to exchange for 1 unit of dollar.
In the Anya-Sotom constituency, some supporters are asking the leadership of the governing New Patriotic Party to reconsider its choice of a parliamentary candidate for the area. They say incumbent Member of Parliament, Dr. President Akufo, who lost last Saturday's parliamentary primaries, stands a better chance of retaining the seat for the NPP.
We the Discerning youth, we cannot follow anybody who want to buy our conscience. We are going to vote for development. We are not going to vote for money, because democracy for the people, to the people, and for the people. We will not allow Madam Ayoko Beki to come and run this constituency for us. She proved that this constituency has got freedom. What does it mean this constituency has got freedom?
Anya-Sotom really has lost a great man indeed. This man, to me, he has been very exceptional. He has been quite very exceptional. And I think we have made a great loss, and we have disappointed the whole populace of the Anya-Sotom.
Executive Director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative, Mary Adda, says government has not put in maximum effort to fight corruption in the country. According to her, most anti-corruption agencies tasked to help curb the menace are woefully under-resourced, which is resulting in underperformance. She spoke on Newsfile.
In inputs, something we expect to achieve outputs. And so if these inputs are positive, we are expecting positive outputs. And so if you have resourced the agencies, then it means something is wrong somewhere. Either our anti-corruption institutions are not working as they should. I am also informing you, for instance, for Shrine, until recently, they didn't even have district offices everywhere across the country, until recently. And most of the others do not. So, and then when you go to some of these offices, the sorry nature of them, they lack resources, they lack staff. The resourcing is money and staff as well. Shrine at the headquarters level is also struggling. And so whether we have given more than any other is besides the point. What we are talking about is if you have put in more, it should be evidenced by the outputs we are making. We see rhetoric on putting in more. We see budgets on putting in more. However, when it comes to the actual disbursements, I was on another platform with the Deputy Attorney General, and he indicated no institution has enough resources to operate. And so what the government has done is more than enough. That is true, that no institution has adequate resources to operate, and we are talking about where we are coming from. So for this government to continue to say that they have given more resources than any other, then it means they need to put in some very stringent KPIs.
Also on Newsfile was National Communications Officer of the Opposition National Democratic Congress, Sami Jimfi, who thinks Ghana's performance on the recent Corruption Perception Index is not surprising because government has only paid lip service to the fight against corruption.
Performance on the Corruption Perception Index of Transparency International in the last 7 years has been abysmal. It's been very terrible. But something that is not surprising. And it is not surprising because you reap what you sow. And we are reaping the seeds we have sown relative to the fight against corruption. This is what you get when the government of the day decides to pay lip service to the fight against corruption. The perception of corruption in Ghana today is at an all-time high because the government has decided to make corruption an attractive and thriving venture. It's become a free-for-all venture for government appointees, party functionaries of the ruling, New Patriotic Party. And it involves higher-ups, including the president, the vice president, ministers of state, and so on. This never in the history of this country have we seen such a deliberate promotion of corruption like we have seen in the last 7 years. And that is why we are performing poorly on the CPI. That is why our worst score in the last decade or so has been the score of 40 this government achieved in the year 2017, and the score of 41 they achieved in 2018, which is the second, lowest score we have had in the last decade.
And now, government says it has invested more than 10 million cedis to ensure the operationalization of the main water supply system in the Ahafo region. It is one of the projects within the rural water space initiated under the Water for All agenda to ensure the sustainable delivery of water services to the citizenry. Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, Frida Prempeh, says aside the rehabilitation and expansion of the waterworks, there will be potable drinking water for the residents.
After serving residents of Mim for about 6 years, the Mim water system broke down in 2006. All 40 public standpipes were damaged, distribution network broken down, and one borehole decommissioned due to leakage in the overhead concrete tanks. For years, residents had to rely on boreholes despite high iron and manganese concentration that made it unwholesome to drink.
This year, pa bobo ya na sesa gallons agum ya ko chini akope nsu ya da krutimi tu nsu obe 40 cedis.
The Water for All agenda aims at ensuring affordable and reliable basic water services to meet the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. Already, over 234,400 residents in 424 communities across the country have benefited. Minister for Water and Sanitation, Frida Prempeh, says small communities are important to the government's agenda.
Government is undertaking reforms in the rural water subsector to ensure the sustainable delivery of potable water services to people living in small towns and rural communities. One of the key activities being carried out is to transform the Community Water and Sanitation Agency from a facilitator to a rural water utility to help overcome the remaining service delivery challenges that persist in the rural communities.
Meanwhile, management of the Community Water and Sanitation Agency is set to take up management of the new facility. 2 iron removal plants have been procured and installed to improve the quality of water. Frida Prempeh again.
Community Water and Sanitation Agency has taken over the management of about 177 pipe water systems in 150 districts and has invested in the rehabilitation and expansion of these water systems to ensure continuous water services delivery. And the main water supply system, which is being commissioned today, is one of those numerous water systems.
Anaya Ojimes reports for Joy News.
In other stories, students in tertiary institutions are worried face-to-face teaching is gradually becoming a drawback in accessing higher education. Socioeconomic background and geographical location have excluded some groups from learning in institutions offering exclusive in-person classes. There is more in this report.
In-person teaching and learning has been the traditional way of learning for decades. However, as the student population increases in all tertiary institutions, lecturers, teaching and graduate assistants find it hard managing class sizes. On the other hand, students disregard unfavorable weather conditions to attend lectures or submit assignments. Both parties describe this as tedious and worrisome. Benedict Afriye is a student at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology.
With the in-person, it was much more tedious because all of us have to come and meet, and sometimes too, I quite remember we would have to walk in the rain to come and submit our assignment because it was due for us to submit.
Tertiary institutions struggle with space for lessons. Emanuela Gidi, a student, lives further from the university. She reveals some of her colleagues have missed examinations and class hours due to change of venues for lectures.
In-person assignments or tests, most of the time are impromptu. Like you don't know that you are going to have a test, and then you go to a class, maybe you are not really prepared for it, and then the lecturer notices some one or two things going on in the class, and it's like, I want to take a test. So everybody gets a sheet of paper, we are writing a test. Maybe a friend of mine missed the class because he or she is not feeling well, but because it's in person, that person can't write the exam and that person can't be assessed. That means the person is scoring a 0 for that test.
Frank Boatinajiman, a student, is intimidated speaking in front of a class of over 200 students. This has limited his interaction and opportunity for valuable feedback.
As in we being in that class with that large number of people, and then sometimes, even in class, sometimes questions will be asked, and then you see people putting up their hands, answering questions here and there, and sometimes you're not able to answer some of the questions, and then you look at it like, are we also in the same class with these people? So at a point in time, it was quite intimidating.
The e-learning center of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology seeks to open up education to more people by offering online learning courses. The center is tutoring, teaching and graduate assistants on the usage of online platforms for teaching and learning. Professor Eric Apo Asante is director.
That teaching assistants, graduate assistants are the ones who readily comes to support faculty when we are doing teaching and learning. And therefore, as an e-learning directorate, we believe that if we equip these teaching assistants and graduate assistants, they would always be a step ahead and will be able to support the learners when they have to navigate the learning management system that they use to study.
For Joy News, Mona Lisa Frimpon reporting.
Setra East District Health Directorate, in collaboration with the veterinary unit of the Department of Agriculture, is seeking to vaccinate at least 300 dogs against rabies in 5 selected communities. The mass vaccination initiative, launched in Nasarawa, will extend its focus to include cats. District Veterinary Officer Irene Ifua Akwa highlights the significance of targeting communities with a high number of dogs, possibly indicating a heightened prevalence of the disease. Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin reports.
In this community, there are a whole lot of dogs here, but the mentality here is that they use the dogs for hunting. So they believe that vaccinating their dogs against rabies disease, when they send their dogs for hunting, they will not hunt animals for them. But this perception, it is not true. For them, it is true to them, but for us, it is not true. So we want to erase such a mentality from their minds that at least every year they should vaccinate their dogs against rabies disease.
The launch marks the initiation of an annual vaccination effort for dogs in the communities. District Veterinary Officer Irene Ifua Akwa confirms plans for coordinated rollout across nearby communities.
And our target is 300 dogs. We've chosen Ahrewa and the nearby communities around Feyase, Bomso, then Bima, then Atakrom, Oba Penyinkom, or Kaikrom, then Insutem. These are the communities that we've chosen because last 2 years Atakrom had a positive rabies case. That's why we've chosen Atakrom, Oba Penyinkom, and the rest.
When you bring the dog, sometimes some of the dogs are very they don't want human beings to even to touch them. So what we do is we muzzle them with a muzzle. We have a muzzle. We muzzle them. When we restrain them, or the owner will restrain the dog for us. Then what we have something called subcoats. In our technical term, we have subcoats. We hold any part of the body or the surface of the body, so we inject it. What we do is this vaccine is mostly done under the subcoat of the dog or the cat. So when we restrain the dog, we give it a muzzle so it cannot bite. In case maybe we wrongly give the vaccine somewhere. So when the dog turns, it cannot bite anybody.
The District Director of Health for Sector East, Dr. Justice Ofori Amwa, underscores the critical importance of preventing and eradicating rabies. In 2023 alone, 7 deaths among children were attributed to rabies cases, underscoring the urgency of concerted action in addressing and preventing the spread of such diseases within the communities.
We have recorded 7 deaths associated with rabies. All what we are preaching and saying to the general public is the early reporting of any suspected case to the nearest health facility for case management. And if we do this, we are very likely to get the disease eliminated from the community.
Dr. Ofori Amwa emphasizes that the vaccination initiative aims to protect the entire population, especially children who are more susceptible to dog bites. Owusu Kofi, a resident, expresses appreciation for the initiative. He and Ayite Addo were able to have their dogs and cats vaccinated for free, a service that would have otherwise cost them 30 cedis.
So wakabia M5 abiama kutubiana emma na sebia onye kakabia sasa
sese ana kramai pane na ba no meni ade se ebewo nti wo so ebeboai waka obi a ha obi anim nti obebo kakra ebeba from kakra so obeboka.
Irene advises residents to treat cases of dog bites seriously, urging it is crucial to visit the hospital and ensure they receive the right treatment before considering any other actions. A report by Mohamed Nuruddin.
The Ghana Cocoa Board says it has introduced new policies to enable direct access to cocoa beans by artisanal chocolate makers. According to the head of public relations at Cocoa Board, Fifi Boafo, this eliminates the hurdles by middlemen, thereby increasing the benefits within the cocoa value chain domestically. He spoke to Joy Business at the launch of the Ghana Chocolate Week celebration in Accra.
About inability to meet the demands of the artisanal chocolate makers. The issue over the years has been with the law as we have it. The law requires that you buy a certain quantity, and the quantity is about 5 tons, and the 5 tons, that is 16 bags multiplied by 5, and that's a lot. So for artisanal chocolate maker, someone who is using the cocoa or the chocolate to do a cake or a bread or ice cream or something, they do not require that much. So it's been a challenge. So they will have to rely on companies that are in the business, the chocolatiers. So there's a trader in between. It adds to cost, and then also how they want it. They do not get the niche products they prefer to have. So what we have done now is to set in place an arrangement that gives them the opportunity to have direct access of the beans and then process it the way they want it. So there's a new arrangement which is being rolled out very soon, and that will permit, for example, artisanal chocolate maker to buy, say, 2 bags of cocoa and use it for the purpose. The person does not require to go through a third party before being able to buy that. All they have to do is to register as artisanal chocolate maker with a cocoa marketing company of Cocoa Board, and they will have access to it. As it stands now, you cannot take cocoa from your own farm and use it for the purpose unless you are just consuming it, but it for commercial purposes you cannot do so because the law bars you from doing that. But we are trying as much as possible to make it easier. We believe that the youth have an opportunity to benefit from the cocoa value chain. What we seek to do with this whole exercise is to expand the businesses that are created out of cocoa so that we do not limit it only to cocoa farming. Because there are those who say, oh, but the people are making a lot of money out of cocoa. we are just making small amount of money. It is just because we are limited to just after the production of the cocoa, it is exported, and there are no businesses that are created out of it.
Now, what do you do when you have no choice but to sell your wares in the midst of filth? That is a story of traders at Accra's Central Market, the Makola Market. In this piece, Justine Crab engages the traders who fear for their health and that of their customers as heaps of rubbish in their shops continue to affect their sales. Welcome back from that break. Let's now bring you that story about our traders in Makola. A story focuses on traders at Accra Central Market who have to sell their wares in the middle of filth. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Makola Market. Like any other major market in Ghana, the shouts of traders are in different pitches and tones, mixed somewhat, a medley. Pleasant or not, I'll leave that to your taste. In their defense, however, this must be done to attract the attention of shoppers to their wares. Another distinct feature of this market is the heaps of garbage in front of shops, a comfortable home for flies and birds. Though they sell in it, the traders fear it could affect their health and that of their customers.
Every time we visit our shops, rubbish is scattered all over. We leave our belongings, sweep around, and gather them to the refuse dump. But by the time we are done sweeping, customers would have already gone to buy from other vendors.
Rubbish has been gathering here for several days. We complain about it. Money is being taken from us, yet we see no improvement. Traders sit in the field, some selling mangoes and foodstuff, which are not hygienic for our health.
But who throws the rubbish here?
Some people do not help us to keep the market clean. Even well-educated people come here to dump refuse.
Getting city authorities to help has been unsuccessful.
The government has instructed Sum Lion to collect this rubbish, but they complain that the allowances paid are not enough. So they refuse to sweep the market and it becomes full of rubbish.
Customers hesitate to buy from them.
Imagine this heap of rubbish gathered in front of my foodstuff and a customer wants to buy. This heap of rubbish is what welcomes the customer. The customer ends up not buying from us. The bad odor alone keeps the customer away. We plead with the government to work hand in hand with Sum Lion so that the heap of rubbish will be collected.
Until the heap of rubbish is cleared, Accra's Central Market remains a disharmony of shout from traders, the honking of cars laced with a stink from rubbish. For Joy News, Justine Crab's report read to you.
A group of 5 young innovators, driven by a common passion for addressing societal challenges, have developed a simple, affordable, and eco-friendly system to purify the water rural communities in Ghana depend on. Research conducted by WaterAid Ghana reveals nearly 4 million Ghanaians do not have access to clean water. StarTech, one of the groups competing in the 2023 Ghana Science and Tech Explorer Challenge Prize, GSTEP, is looking at addressing this with its solar-powered water treatment system. Joy Prime's Justine Amenyeji and Samuel Martins have more on their project in the following report.
Many households, particularly in rural Ghana, continue to suffer from water-related diseases such as cholera, typhoid and dysentery as a result of drinking unsafe water. The group of 5 young visionaries, united by a shared zeal to tackle societal challenges, has creatively crafted a cost-effective and environmentally conscious system. This innovation is designed to assist individuals residing in rural areas in purifying their water, bringing forth a solution that is both accessible and eco-friendly.
In many rural communities in Ghana, per the United Nations, 19,000 people, including 5,100 children under the age of 5, suffer each year from water-related diseases such as cholera, dysentery, and many more. At StarTech, we believe that water comes first in everyday matter. We also believe that if we come together with a shared passion, we can solve this problem together. So we came up with a solar-powered water treatment system.
With easy-to-get equipment such as barrels, a hose, taps, and an improvised solar system, the StarTech Group developed a purification system. They demonstrate how their prototype works.
The first process the dirty water will be going through is filtration. So this is our first barrel. You'll be pouring the water, that's with sand. So it will pass through the net, and some of the substances, some of the dirt that we can see will be caught through the net, and the water from the net will pass through this pipe we have here into the second barrel. The second barrel consists of charcoal, sand, and gravels. The reason why we use the charcoal is that it has some absorption properties that attract chemicals from the dirty water. Also, the sand will help in retaining some of the dirt that wasn't trapped here into this one. The gravels has a large surface area. It is covering a large surface area, so it would be used to also block some of the particles from entering. Then it moves into the tube you can see here through to the solar heater. So this system we have here is an improvised solar heater. We wanted to use a solar panel, but the cost was expensive, so we decided to bring up the improvised solar heater. So before we use it, we place it under the sun for 5 minutes, then it heats up. So when the water passes through, before it gets here, it becomes warm, and the water that comes here is filtered and clean, but it takes time.
StarTech is looking at running quality tests at the Food and Drugs Authority in order to ensure that the water is of good quality. Their project, if rolled out in rural communities, will help curb the spread of waterborne diseases. The group is hopeful their project will qualify them for the finals of the G-Step exhibition and awards ceremony. Justine Ameyaji and Samuel Martin's report for Joy Prime.
Now imagine using just one hand to cut open a coconut. Then imagine using that same one hand to take out the seed pulp in the coconut, shelling the husk and turning it into a soap dish, flower vase or drinking cup. That's what Elisha Foley, who lost the ability to use one of his palms whilst young, has been doing. He's been sharing with Hannah Odame how he's able to do this while still nursing dreams of becoming a pilot.
I wanted to be a pilot, specifically a pilot who is also an engineer.
22-year-old Elisha Akufo had his dream career all planned out even before he completed his senior high education at the Laboni Senior High School. Developing a strange health condition on his wrist, which required a surgery in the year 2010 and another corrective surgery in the year 2018, redirected the course of his dreams.
It was in 2018, early 2018, that I began to feel some pains in my hand and it began to curl. So from there, we decided to take it back to the hospital to find out what is happening or if they can even do something about it. But the surgeon who took care of me was like, before they can do something about it, they have to get back to the records or the folder that contains all the information before they can do something about it. So from that time, someone advised us to send it to 37. So at 37, they also tried, but it still didn't work out.
Both surgeries could, however, not guarantee Elisha his palm back. The fingers on his right arm folded inwards the palm towards the wrist, unable to open up. Unable to bear seeing his new state, Elisha thought ending it all through suicide was the best option.
Actually, I was very sad because at first I used to do a whole lot of things with both hands, and now I see myself not being able to even open my hands to see what's in my hand. It sometimes worries. So at the time I even gave up. I was like, this is the end, so I should just commit suicide and other things. But through my friends and other people that I see outside, they always give me motivation and they always encourage me.
The encouragement from his family and friends, however, changed his mind. He gathered courage, enrolled at the Ghana Telecom University to study data science and analytics in the morning, and then turned coconut husk into a variety of items for use in the evening.
During SHS, one day we closed from school and there was traffic from Laboni to Circle. So the truck driver used a different route to Circle. And unfortunately, we passed by Iran Clinic. And I saw a heap of coconut waste gathered there. And I said to myself, this thing can be used for something. And there I researched about these coconut shells and a whole lot of things concerning the coconut shell.
Encountering lots of challenges due to his inability to use both palms did not discourage Elisha. This time, he says he found a solution to every hurdle.
I said to myself, can I do this thing? Because my hand is spinning me and I'm going through a lot of pain already. How can I cut these coconuts? How can I even do all this process about it? And I said to myself, I can do this. I produce coconut bowls, coconut cups, coconut containers, coconut money savers, coconut soap dish, coconut pepper shaker, and also coconut spoons and phone holder, toothpaste holder.
Business is picking up gradually, and Elisha, who yearns to train others, is also hopeful his clientele will increase both locally and internationally.
I had a lady from Canada, who ordered about 30 pieces of my products to set up his own business. That's a shea butter business. That's what I can say, it's a breakthrough for me.
Who comes to buy from you?
So mostly they are those market women that doing local stuff like the calabash, the earthenware bowls. They are the people that normally patronize it, and also the foreigners. So as time goes on, I'm looking forward to employ more people to take over certain parts in the business. So let's say the production aspect, I'll be giving it to someone to manage it. Whilst I'll also be focusing on my data science and data analytics.
Here is his word of advice for persons living with disability.
Never look down upon yourself and say, oh, I'm disabled. My hand is not there. My leg is not there. I can't see. I can't sing. I don't have that voice. I don't have this. I don't have that. Do not look upon those things. Never give up on your dreams or never underestimate yourself. But you need to leave that your comfort zone to move on. It's already there. You can't do anything about it. So you have to move on and do something extraordinary with what you are going through now.
For Joy News, I am Hannah Odame.
That was indeed a touching story of hope. Now let's move on to the 2024 edition of the Love FM and Insura FM Health and Fitness Walk, which lived up to expectations as hundreds of excited patrons joined the exercise in Kumasi. Individuals, schools, groups, and staff of some corporate institutions trooped to Kumasi Mall for the exercise. My colleague Nana Bwache Yadom joined hundreds of participants and has filed this report.
Well, it's the 2024 edition of the Insura FM Love FM Health Walk. Hundreds of listeners of Insura FM and Love FM joined up this year. It's been an amazing walk through all the principal streets of Kumasi. Well, let's hear from some supporters who joined us today.
Oh, I want to tell Insura FM, you are doing the most. In fact, you are so good.
I think it has been great because of them involving the students to be part of the work. I think it is the best. Oh, God bless them for what they are doing. God bless them, and I wish them the best.
So next year, what do you want to see differently from this year?
Actually, anything they can add up to make it very nice.
It has been splendid. Actually, this is part of our Meraki 2024, our Student First edition, and this is actually our first time being here.
So first time, how's the experience been?
It was extraordinary. We are so happy. We are not dehydrated. I mean, we are okay, right?
So guess what? Those of us with no airbags would have to join those with airbags for this Love FM and Insura FM fitness walk. And guess what I have here with me? The GJA journalist of the year, Erastus Aside-Oko. Come on now, how has it been?
Yeah, tear fruit so.
What to say? Best and I reduce it.
So far £1.
it's this year, no. Last year, me say you were in the walk with us. How was it last year? Comparing it to this year.
Well, last year it was great. This year, as you can see, the crowd and all that, it has been super, fantastic. And I think more people are beginning to appreciate the fact that we lead a very stressful life. You need to walk, you need to work out, you need to exercise the brain and the entire body. And that's what the Love FM Fitness Walk seeks to do. So people are beginning to appreciate that. And that's how come you see more young people, old and the youngest coming together on this walk.
Do you think we've met our expectations this year?
Yeah, of course we have. We can look at the crowd. It's super. And more people are joining us. We walk. And you can see the enthusiasm with which they join and the talk around it. So it's not only exercising the body, but fraternizing, networking, and boosting our morale. That is a super thing to do.
No, from the mall back to the mall, do you think that by the time we get inside the Kumasi City Mall, yours will be like mine?
We'll see, but the fufu will not allow us.
So this is no dance class. It is actually you exercising your body for the few months, few days, few weeks ahead. You know you have to be strong. And that is why Love FM and Insura FM has put together the fitness walk. The 2024 edition has been super exciting. Charlie, you got to exercise.
Yes, Charlie, we got to exercise. And on that note, we wrap up today's bulletin. My name is Sweetie Aboshi. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com to keep you updated with the latest happenings. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.